All right. If you're hanging out with us either on YouTube, thanks. If you're hanging out with us on Instagram, I see you, Adam. I see you, Kylie. See you, Cassie. Just getting everything ready just to say, hey, I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube Live. And believe it or not, struggling the most with Facebook. So there we go. Macy, what's up? Good to see you. All right. Let's see. Still having some issues with Facebook, so we'll just let everybody just kind of jump in and just kind of hang out. Um, what's been your quarantine snack? While we're waiting for me to be a little more technologically savvy and get this going, what's been your quarantine snack? Anybody? Ice cream? Peanut butter crackers? And have you already kind of blown through it? That's a that's a real question. Let's see. All right. Still problems with my camera on Facebook Live. So that's an issue. Um, coffee, yeah, Kyle, I've already made 2 pots of coffee today. Um, Still not super convinced um, how everybody kind of does the whole working from home. Um, I'm in a corner. I'm not even in a home office, so I'm in a corner, but that's okay. Um, hey, yeah. Here's the problem. My camera is not working on my computer. I kind of feel like a superstar here. It's 2 laptops and a phone, and I got my Facebook side of things is not working at all um, because my camera on that computer is not working at all, which is awesome because it was working earlier today. It's going to make this whole deal a little more challenging. And so, if you guys will kind of bear with me for a second. What's up, Jake? Good to see you, buddy. There you go. And yes, Logan, I'm kind of avoiding not watching myself from computers. It's a little weird. But you'll notice I'm still wearing plaid. I've got enough plaid for the quarantine. And so I think we're good there. So again, it's 4:32. Everybody just kind of jump on in, hang out for just a minute while I fix this problem. My built-in camera is not working on the Facebook side of things, and it was working earlier today. So that is super inconvenient. Super inconvenient. That's all I got right now. Okay, let me let me do this. YouTube folks, I'm gonna probably hmm, I don't have an option here. Let me try this. The old shutdown restart. Okay, sorry about that. Should be more professional, but you know what? Part of everything that we're facing right now is man, day to day, and oh, what you thought was going to work is going to be a little different, and oh, how you thought this was going to go is well, times have changed, and so man, it's kind of even hard to think about what last week felt like, where many of us were maybe on spring break vacation, or maybe you were just at home enjoying kind of a staycation, and you've gone from everything kind of felt normal to man, everything felt kind of the opposite of normal, and obviously in our community, normal probably goes back to March 1st. And then March 2nd and early morning March 3rd, everything kind of changed. Our normal changed. around the greater Nashville area for many of us, certainly. And so we're still kind of adapting, and that includes even things like engaging people um, from a distance. And so, we hear things about social distancing, um, and I get that phrase, but I think for us as a church, we need to be mindful that really probably what we're trying to do is just have that physical distance, but we don't want to distance ourselves socially. We want to remain connected. That's an important piece to us as believers to remain connected. And so part of us jumping on today and kind of creating this opportunity for us to say, hello, here's what's kind of happening, is really to say, hey, we're not going away. Obviously, like our church gathered this past Sunday, obviously Pastor Poley, as he's leading through this, is made the decision for, until further notice, we're going to gather as the church um, corporately, but just using technology, and that's going to be the safest spot for our community and and for us. And so we're not going away as a student ministry. We're not going to not meet just because we can't meet in person. We live in a day where we are connected in so many ways through technology, um, that we can still do a lot of the things that we're doing when we gather together physically, but we now have to figure out how to do that well socially. And so, Cassie, thank you, sweet. You're sharing it to Facebook, so now we're going to roll. We'll just fix my very old computer later. So here's the deal. So as I've kind of jumping in, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for joining. Thanks for man, just kind of pausing. And so as I was kind of saying, we're not going away. We're not. We can't do that. Do that. We don't need to do that. It's not good or right for us to just go away and say, hey, we can't meet physically, so we can't meet. It's going to look a little different. It's going to be one of those things that requires flexibility. But I don't know if you're like this. I'm kind of this way. I almost feel like there's been moments in my life where I immediately thought, like, man, I'm living in historical times. I'm going to live in times where I'll be that old plaid wearing grandpa, telling my grandkids, man, I remember what it was like when, and fill in the blank. Like I was in college when 9/11 happened. And, about 6 years ago, I took a group of college students to New York City for a mission trip. And they were all the age that I was when it actually happened. And so I kind of felt like Grandpa Michael there for a minute, because they weren't really old enough when it happened to grasp what happened. And I feel like we're living in days, because of coronavirus, because of just how we socially are limiting activity to protect people and protect ourselves and things like that. That, man, when we're older, we're just gonna be like, man, remember when like everybody was going for toilet paper, and but you could find toothpaste on every aisle, or remember when we just kind of stayed at home for a month and figured out how to survive that way. We're living in interesting times, and so we're not going away as a student ministry, but because we can't gather, we're going to have to figure some things out too. And so, for us, what is the new normal? What does gathering together but not physically together? What does that look like? And so, hey, students, we're family, and so we're going to do that. We're going to leverage technology. Again, we live in a day where we've got options. We've got, man, I was trying to go 3 platforms here and only 2 worked. And so we've got multiple platforms. And so for our life groups, man, we're going to utilize technology so we can gather, and not just gather, like a conference call, like where we're all just, holding our phone and talking into this machine. We're gonna work to make it to where we can see each other, like kind of you're seeing me now. I'm not seeing you, but like kind of we're able to all see each other. So there's a piece of technology called Zoom. Some of y'all maybe have used it before. Maybe you're using it a whole lot more now. Maybe some of y'all are doing virtual school and you're using Zoom. And so we're going to be using that because it allows us to basically have a group FaceTime call. Is really what that's going to look like. And so we'll be able to see each other in real time. We'll be able to talk, we'll be able to communicate, and we'll be able to bridge that physical distance through technology and still gain that social connectivity the best we can when we literally can't be in the same room. And so we're going to use that. And then Cassie and guys, Cassie and I talked for about 2 hours yesterday about some different ways we can have fun and gather through the week. And so just kind of bookmark Tuesdays and Thursdays, kind of in that late afternoon kind of time frame. We're still working out some times because we want to be mindful of not just your schedules, but also kind of our church ministry as it evolves a little bit through the rest of the week, to figure out how we can land things for preschool and for children and for students, for adults, how we can gather, how we can do those things. But kind of bookmark Tuesday and Thursday late afternoons because we're going to be hanging out. Some of that is just going to be some fun, some challenges. We're going to try to do some very unique things in the days to come, because we can do some unique things because of technology and because, well, it's going to have to be unique, right, guys? We can't be in the same room together. Um, and so it'll just look different. And then that'll be kind of Tuesday's piece is just kind of the lighthearted, fun challenge, kind of just a check in, that kind of deal. And then Thursdays is going to be a little bit more of maybe the focus kind of replacement. And I know we're used to gathering on Wednesday nights, but I want to have multiple touch points throughout the week. So again, as you think through, okay, Michael, what does the new normal look like until further notice, until we can kind of gather again like we're used to? It's going to look kind of like Sundays and Tuesdays and Thursdays where we maybe kind of jump in together the best we can. And then maybe throughout the week, it's a text here, it's a social media post there, it's a, hey, we're in this together. As I was thinking about some things to share, and I'll kind of wrap up in the next few moments. I remembered some of the things we talked about in focus at the first of the year. We looked at those broken lenses, right? We looked at how we see ourselves, and sometimes we see life with broken lenses, and those are the ones that are so easy to view life with. That broken lens that maybe we're not good enough, and we realize, man, it's not about me being good enough. It's about me having the God of the Bible, the God of the universe, the Jesus who loved me, died for me, inside of me, and with Him, man, I am enough. That's a broken lens that then switches out to that correct lens. But I was reminded of one that we looked at, and it was the third broken lens. It was the broken lens of, man, I'll get serious about this later. I've got all kinds of time. And so I'll get serious about faith. I'll get serious about growing in the Word. I'll get serious about that later. Like, man, I'm a eighth grader. Like, I got to worry about this and this and this. I'll worry about that later. I got time. And guys, it feels like since March 1st, we've been reminded we don't know what tomorrow holds. We just don't. And the reality is we never do. We never do. But the other reality is, prior to March 1st, for many of us, we've lived like we know what tomorrow's going to hold. We live like we know what's going to be lunch for tomorrow at school and what we're planning for on the weekend and the vacation we're having in the summer. We know all of those things are going to happen, and we just count the days until. And we've been very quickly reminded that from one day to the next, everything can change. And from one week to the next, everything can change. And so not so much in a promise of, man, you may not make it to 25 or anything like that. It's just that we may not have the same chances tomorrow that we have today. We may not have the same conversations with friends tomorrow that we have today. And so that broken lens of, I'll get serious about that when I'm older, needs to be replaced with, man, every day that I'm given, every day, it's a gift. Psalm 90, verse 12 reminds us with the wisdom that we ought to teach ourselves. We ought to ask the Lord to teach us to number our days so that we gain a heart of wisdom. And so one challenge that I would say for you guys, like, I know some of y'all are plugging away with virtual school. I know some of our students that, you guys operate on a homeschool calendar, and you're like, yo, this is just Wednesday, March 18th. Same pattern for me. I'm right in. You guys are going to enjoy this when you're out of school by the end of April. But I know for many of you guys, your loss of your week has kind of, what you did Monday through Friday is now gone. And so, a challenge that I would have for you guys in the time that you have, we have no excuse. We have no ability. We have no reason to say, you know what, I don't have the time. We don't. We have all kinds of time now. We're home. We're not going places. Our schedules and our calendars have been cleared. We got time. And so, the challenge I would have for you and the challenge I have for myself um, is how are you going to use this, what feels like extra time? How are you going to use it? For the believer, man, how much time are you going to spend now that you've got so much more time? Our pastor challenged us at the turn of the year to read through the Bible. How are we doing on that? You might say, I haven't started yet. Then start where we are today. Jump in, or you're like, hey, I got all kinds of time. I'll start with January 1st and I'll catch up. But what are you going to read? How much time are you going to spend praying? Maybe you're not a journaling person. Maybe because this is unique times and you do want to be grandpa wearing flannel and plaid. This is both. Wearing the plaid shirt, telling your kids about what these days were like. And so make some notes of it. What are you thinking about? What are you dreaming about? What are the thoughts that you now have because maybe there's less noise in your life? One thing we can't do because we have extra time is now watch more and more and more things on social media, or watch more and more things on Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or YouTube. We can't go down that rabbit hole, and it's going to be easy to. And so I would challenge you, man, in the time that feels like extra time, because your schedule, my schedule has been rearranged a little bit. Man, use it well. Use it well. You might feel imprisoned in your home. The Apostle Paul wrote books of the Bible from prison. You might feel a little nervous because of coronavirus and things like that. I was reading something the other day. Isaac Newton, in the midst of the bubonic plague, that's where he thought and pondered a lot of the mathematical laws that we use today. C.S. Lewis, when London and Britain was being bombed during World War II, he delivered radio chats and radio conversations to folks, and those series of conversations became one of the most massively critical books in modern Christian faith, a book called Mere Christianity. And so, in the time that we have that together, man, what are you going to do? Is the idea that might help change the world around you be rattling around in your thoughts over the next couple weeks? I don't know. Let's just not go down the rabbit hole of entertaining ourselves entirely. And so, guys, we're in this together. We're family. We say it's a time. We're family, so we laugh together, we cry together, we help each other, we love each other, we care for each other. And so, hey, if you're hurting, if you're scared, hey, feel free to reach out. This might be a time where instead of just sending your friends a snap, you call them and you say, man, how are you doing? What's up? Let's talk for even 5-10 minutes so we can hear each other's voice and kind of cut through that physical distance piece, because we're just not seeing people the same way we are. So, hey, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we're still working on the times and nailing that down. If you want to kind of get ahead of the curve a little bit, look up Zoom. It's a free app. It's a free account. And you can jump in on video conferences. Again, it's going to be like a group FaceTime call. But if your device doesn't even have a camera, man, you can still jump in on the audio side. And so if you want to go ahead and get one of those set up, that would get you ahead of the curve. But we will be letting you know, hopefully within the next day, man, at the exact times, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Hey, love you guys. It is weird not seeing you guys. And it's just kind of weird all around. And so know that you are still being prayed for, not just by Cassie and I, but your life group leaders. And they're excited that we're trying to figure some things out so they can see you, because they love you and they're not wanting to give up. And so we'll see you soon. It'll be digitally seeing you. We're going to be learning and figuring out how to do it better each day. You guys are going to help us make us better, because trust me, I'm going to do something and some of y'all might say, Michael, this is how you do it better. or how you do it right. And I'll listen to y'all, and so y'all will make me better. And so be thinking of even challenges that we can do, whether that's a home scavenger hunt or, I might just have story time with Michael and show you an old picture of me and how ridiculous I looked and kind of what was going on in that moment in my life. Or I don't know, break out wedding pictures from me and Tracy. I'm just kidding. Some of y'all maybe got excited about that. But anyways, Milton, I'm going to try to get my dog over here because I talk about him a lot. And so, Milton, come here. Milton and I are going to say bye. Oh. Oh, in an age, in a time of social distancing, maybe you've got an animal, a pet, just like me and Milton. He's making his social media debut this week. And so, hey, from me, from Cassie, just as we've talked this week, we love you guys. We're excited to see what God does during this time. Continue to pray for our city, our country, our leaders, man, because we're going to get through it. But it's just going to be an interesting time. So we love you guys. We'll see you soon. Again, bookmark Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. We'll nail down the times, hopefully in the next day, so we can get that out to you. And between now and then, keep eating those quarantine snacks. Love you guys. See you. Bye.